Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds, and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we finished another one of these battles in the middle of the Ongren swamps, and we are, it would seem, growing ever closer to our encounter with Gurnakor. Now, where exactly that's going to take place, we still don't really know, but it looks like we are very close to making it to what seems to be the largest establishment, largest village in the area, so something is going to happen here. Whether that means it's Gurnakor or something different, I don't know. We have also recently found that this area is perhaps a little bit smaller than we had initially thought. Can't even go over here at all. And that further raises suspicion that we probably can't snake our way across the coastline here and sneak through the forest to get over to this puzzle. So, I mean, we might be about to check that just to be 100% sure. If not, though, despite the phrasing here on this point of interest seeming to suggest that there is an alternate route, we may truly just need to, on this one occasion, fly the bridge and go over that way to actually access that puzzle. Because, of course, we would still like to do it, but let's see if we can confirm one way or the other. Is there a hidden path over here? It does not seem like it. Okay. So I take that to mean that if we do want to access that puzzle, there really is one way and one way only to do it, and that is by paying a little bit of wood to build the bridge. So let's go do that now. Is that something we can loot? No? Okay, that's probably just the corpse of one of the enemies that we fought around here. Just don't mind that. Don't mind that. Okay, because yeah, it seems like the phrasing that the game uses when we're trying to cross the bridge. Hold on, did we overshoot it? No, it's further this way. Okay. Lyds, you could have just fast traveled that. Ooh, maybe. Yes. But my point is, the phrasing that the game uses here makes it sound like there would be an alternative. Like here it says, it's not worth it, we shall, well, another destroyed bridge. The boards have given to rot, but the columns yet stand, strangely enough. On your orders, our engineers can begin to rebuild the crossing platform. So, usually this is something where it is truly just a matter of convenience. If you're patient enough, you can go around and avoid having to spend a little bit of your resources. The phrasing here, we shall go around, implies that there is a way to go around, but at this point I think we've just about confirmed that that's not actually true, so I'm guessing this is just recycled language. Oh, and that, by that account, that means we do need to spend 50 wood, so just hoping, I think that's the first time we've actually built a bridge like this, just hoping that this puzzle is worth it. That it's, you know, going to give us more rewards than just 50 wood. Now, the reason for my hesitation is I am pretty certain that when we do eventually encounter Gurnakor, it's going to be some kind of creepy remote shack like this, which is why I think before we saw that this was a puzzle, which we only confirmed once we got to one of the notice boards, I had initially thought this was going to be the place where Gurnakor is, especially because I also thought that it was going to be an encounter which was technically optional, because I think Gurnakor is kind of like the big, technically optional beast that we have seen in many other places, like the Manticore, like Keltullus, so on and so forth. So for it to be off on the side like this would make some sense for that reason. But doesn't seem as though that is the case here. Ooh, certainly would like to get that. Alright, what is this one all about? Eternal peace? Now that's probably the last phrase that I expected to read there. Alright, let's see. It's sometimes said cemeteries are places of eternal peace. Oh, that's why. Okay. Not like we're about to achieve world peace here right now, no. Well, in my experience, it's quite the opposite, okay. Burial grounds are deathly dangerous, and woe befalls many who do not grant them a wide berth. Never mind the fact that we did exactly the opposite of that and made a point of coming over here. Eliminate the Grave Hag. Use your leader ability. Okay. Puzzle, special rules, shorten battles to just one round, and we do have a custom deck. Alright, let's see what the deal is here. The fact that it explicitly specifies that we should use our leader ability, one would assume that's pretty important then. Okay. What is our leader ability? Need to destroy you. You have immune, so that's going to be pretty difficult. Damage an enemy unit and all their units with the same power by 4. Okay, we've used the broadsword many times before for the majority of the game, so pretty good sense as to what this is about. What is your deal? Every turn on turn start, destroy the lowest units. Oh. Okay. Does that include yourself if you're the only unit on the board? That might be the answer. Deathwish, play this card from your graveyard and strengthen it by 2. Okay. My first impression is that the way we beat this encounter is we destroyed both of the Barghest enough that they become bigger than the Grave Hag, and the Grave Hag then is the smallest unit on the board and destroys itself with its own ability. So that's at least what I'm thinking initially here, but let's see what we have in hand, and that certainly may influence some things. Damage unit by 1, use this ability 8 times. We've seen these before. We do have this card ourselves. Boost allies by 2, damage enemies by 2. Banish any number of units from your graveyard. Units? We don't have any units in our graveyard at the moment. Then damage all units on a row by the amount. Banish. Okay, I mean, these are all cards we've used in the past. I'm pretty familiar with those. Draw and play 2 blitz units from your deck. We, I think, also had that at one point in time, but it's been a while. Okay, the Arbalists. It's all Arbalists. And it's been a while since we used these guys as well, but damage unit by the number of cards in this row, including self. And when we use our leader ability, it'll also damage the nearest enemy by 2. So basically, it's just a matter of destroying the Barghests as quickly and frequently and efficiently as possible. So, I mean, on one hand, we have an easy way with a leader ability charge here. Although, yeah, this happens immediately, right? I mean, I would think that we're supposed to get the Arbalists out as quickly as possible. That way we maximize the value from our leader ability as quickly as possible. But is it enough damage to... I mean, we already have overkill damage from our leader ability, at least this first time. So that's a little confusing for that reason. I feel like might not actually be what we're looking for. Oh, also destroy the lowest units. That is going to end up being the Arbalists. Eventually, at least. They're 7 base power, so I guess it'll be a little while until that happens, but then that's where Skull becomes possible. Okay, starting to see it a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's enough to get you up to 7. Assuming that we're destroying you once every time we play one of these with one of our Arbalists. Then, once you're up to 7, you're at the same value as the Arbalist, which means Grave Hag destroys Barghest and Arbalist at the same time. Although Lyria Horn is a weird one, because 2 damage to them is not a lot compared to how much damage we would eventually be getting from Arbalist once we load up a bunch of them in a row. So I am imagining this is not really so much to deal damage as much as it's just to give you, at least not directly, it's more so a way to extend the amount of time you have before you lose Arbalists to the Grave Hag. So I think it's Arbalists, and then you might not even be able to play this last one before you might need to go straight to Lyria and Horn to at least have some of your Arbalists survive. That way you keep them on the board a little bit longer, which means the subsequent Arbalist, or Arbalists plural, have a little bit more damage, because their damage is based on how many you have. Then, once they all get destroyed, it's Skull, and then you finish with the Dazbog Rune Stones. And 8 damage. Skull is potentially still more than that. I don't know how big Skull is gonna get to be. But, alright, let's get going. Let's get going. We have a theory. Alright, I forgot it's 2. Okay, so we do that. And we do
One bolt's
that.
all I need.
And then we do this. Which means we actually get a little bit of damage on you, which I think is a good thing. Right? Yeah, because we want, even if we aren't going to directly destroy you like that, we want to get you weaker so that eventually, or it accelerates the time it takes for us to actually get you the weakest and destroy you. So now these will get destroyed. Already up to 7. Wow. Okay. So. And our leader ability is on its usual cooldown of 5. I was kind of wondering if it was going to be accelerated for this specific puzzle, but it does not seem to be the case. So, do we need to go straight into Lyrian's Horn right now? That way, you're not the smallest units. You are, so we... Yeah, I think that is what has to be done here. So, again, it's not really dramatic. It does weaken the Brave Hag a little bit more, which is also nice. But it gives us one, quote-unquote, free turn for these Barghest to get destroyed. Without having to worry about these guys, they'll come back as 9s. So now I think we basically do need to go Royal Decree. Yeah, actually, we go Royal Decree here. We get more of them. And this will not directly destroy the Barghests. What it will do is guarantee that they are the lowest units once again, so they'll get destroyed by the Grave Hag on this turn now. Oh, not on the same number, though. Ooh, that's tricky. I am not sure if we need to be mindful of one Barghest's value relative to the other Barghest's value. I think we want to keep you low. So we don't want to lose Lyria and Rivia yet. And so keeping you on 6 is valuable, actually. So we do this. It'd be kind of nice to have you both be tied at 6, then you both get to start on the same turn, but trying to keep you as the lowest amount, at least one of the Barghests at the lowest number, then that way the Grave Hag is still doing its thing there. And we are going to get that back, though. Destroyed and then bring it back. I think that's still fine. Trying to extend the amount of time we have with Arbalists on the board so that we can still get good value out of Royal Decree, and only once we have played all of them that we can get from Royal Decree do they start going to our graveyard, which is when we want to use Skull or Dazbog Runestone. Okay, so yeah, I think it's still no leader ability yet, and we'd also like to have them stay on the board for one more turn so we can get another leader ability out of it and get, at this point, a lot of value from all of these. So how many of them do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 will be the 2 that we get here, which means we have to think a little bit about how we want to spread out this damage. I mean, we are close to getting to the point where this is the lowest unit. We're almost there. So we have enough to destroy one of them altogether. I don't think we want to do that. I think we want to weaken both of them. And not destroy them, but weaken both of them. So that... yeah, we have to weaken both of them. Otherwise, the lowest units on the board will be the Lyria and Rivia. Okay, so that makes it relatively simple.
One bolt's all I need.
Right? Because, yeah, even if we hit the bigger one with both of our guys, then these are... this would still get destroyed. We don't want that to happen yet. Now you come back. Now we can use leader ability with a whole bunch of Arbalists on the board, which is really useful. And don't want to use this yet. Dazbog Runestone, technically... yeah, I mean, I guess it's you now. Unless we can get them on the same number with Dazbog Runestone? It's 8. Which I don't think is quite going to line up, is it? Right, this is going to be the last damage, yeah. Okay, but I think that actually is better, though, because better than doing leader ability first, because now We destroy, I don't remember exactly how the order of operations works. Do the Barghest come back before all of the loyal abilities get activated, or will some excess loyal abilities still hit this Grave Hag? I think that's how we damaged it before, right? That and a combination of Lyrian Horn. So I think it just gives us a little bit more of an opportunity. Hopefully, get some damage from the loyal abilities. There you go. There you go. And now it's tied at 7. So, is there a chance we won't even need all these? Possibly. Let's see. Will this destroy itself along with all of our Arbalists on this turn? We're about to find out. Yes, it will. Alright, didn't even need the last 2 cards. So, I don't know. There's a chance we just broke the puzzle and did it more efficiently than the game had intended for us to do it. But either way, we'll take it. Ooh, speaking of taking it, what is the letter that we've just found here? We've established, on day 1, the settlement's boundaries and have begun to work on the palisade. God's willing, we'll turn these swamps into fertile fields yet. Ongren will be the breadbasket of all Temeria. I was expecting this to be the Nilfgaardians here, but I mean, is this technically neutral territory? Sort of? I mean, I thought I remembered hearing somewhere that it is at the very least right next to Temeria. Don't remember if it's technically still considered part of it. Day 23. I don't understand. Fields we plow one day are covered in thorny vines the next. Yep. Yeah, if you chose this specific area, this was not the right place to be trying to turn to farmland. Sheep are dying one after the other. Seems the rot's already set in before they've drawn their last breath. Day 43. The rain hasn't stopped. Supplies are running low, and we've no yield from harvest. And these darned mosquitoes and ticks. Yeah, all the parasites. Day 51. Only 3 of us left. Tomorrow, we make for the Yaruga. Melitele, good mother, have mercy on us. Yeah, generally speaking, not a great time here. Not a very pleasant experience to be here. That does not surprise me. Okay, so what did it cost us 50 wood, I think, to cross the bridge, and that was 24 wood we just got from that. It's 23 here. Okay, so tiny bit of gold as well. We're basically just about breaking even. If you consider that gold is generally a little more valuable than wood, then we made the slightest of profits from that stuff, at least. I don't remember if we got anything from the puzzle itself. A letter, that didn't really give us anything. But then this. What does this chest give us? Oh. Alright, so I mean, as I think I've said before, I have been unable to sync Thronebreaker with multiplayer Gwent, so I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to benefit from that anyway, but also it's kind of a weird looking thing. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone use that. In fact, I think I can speak pretty definitively. I've never seen anyone use that. It's a weird one. Alright, so let's take a quick peek here. So that was the much anticipated area. In fact, did we check to see if that little path through the woods was actually traversable? That's right where the little hut was, wasn't it? Because, yeah, the path leads to the hut. Can't go into the hut, not that I would really want to. But yeah, we had theorized that maybe that was the alternative way through rather than having to build the bridge, but I think this pretty much confirms that, as we suspected, is the only way to make it happen. So in that case, I think that means we're going to be headed in toward the town here, and I certainly suspect we're going to get some kind of significant encounter here, as whether it'll be a fight or some just narrative-based decision for us to make. Either way, I imagine it would be a pretty big one, just given the size of the area and how have yet to have any major plot significant things happen since getting into this area, the Ysgith area of Ongren, and so I think we're overdue for something to happen. Does that mean it's going to be Gurnakor? I don't really think this aspect will be. Not Gurnakor directly, at least. Related to Gurnakor? Oh, absolutely. Indirectly, yeah, or, you know, have ties to Gurnakor. Significant ones at that, perhaps, but Not Grunakor herself? Well, that's, doesn't look good. Then again, I don't really know what I expected.
While accustomed to life mid swamp monsters
It's not a good sound
and
effect
black
either.
magic, Angren's denizens
Wait,
never
I know that
dared
name.
enter
A
Ysgith.
professional? I know that nickname.
The Lyrians only once saw signs of a human presence there when they spotted a group of thatched roof huts amongst alders.
That settlement, is it inhabited?
Meve asked, turning to her scouts.
Who would live in this area,
Impossible
though?
to say from this distance, Your Grace.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to meet people who are voluntarily choosing to live in this area.
The Lyrians entered the village, swords in hand, prepared to fight. But not a soul nor a beast came forth. Some homes had collapsed from rot, while tall grass concealed the paths between them. Yet, someone had been there not long past, for fresh ghoul cadavers lay by the well.
I have a
Meve knelt beside the
theory.
corpse of one cut clear in half. The beast's killer had been exceptionally strong, and
Yeah,
wielded a razor-sharp sword.
I'm sure that was the case. A professional, one might call them.
More likely to come around.
Meve leapt to her feet. A man
Ah,
in thick leather armor had emerged from one of the huts. Transfixed by his cat eyes, the queen nonetheless sensed he was rather badly hurt.
Were that
witcher.
true, my scouts would have blown their horns.
The man pulled out a pendant shaped like a bear's head. It hummed and twitched as if striving to free itself of its chain.
he would know. He would know.
Far as monsters go,
He said, lips curling into an unpleasant smile.
witchers aren't usually wrong.
A moment later, a scream pierced the
Yup.
air. Quickly,
He is a witcher.
instinctively, Meve drew her sword and lunged forth.
And it sounds like he was right. Alright, what do we have here? In the heart of Ysgith. Ooh, I know, at least for multiplayer Gwent, what that image is of. And we heard mention of it, at the very beginning upon arriving in Ongren. Don't think we've seen anything related to that since, though. Shortened battle extra cards. Oh, hold up. Getting a little ahead of myself here. The Witcher, though severely wounded, proved far faster than the Lyrian soldiers. His silver sword was never idle, slicing tendons and arteries, finding cracks in the chitinous armor. Meve watched on in wonderment. At least, until the ghoul howling behind her reminded the queen that she, too, must fight. Okay, so yes, shortened battles in 1 round. Extra cards is not a description we get often. Does that mean maybe the Witcher is accompanying us? And I'm pretty sure I know who he is, just again for multiplayer Gwent, but we'll see. Alright. Battle will last only 1 round. Understood. So it is our deck, but probably with some modifications. Let's take a quick peek at what's going on here. Is it Glusty Warp? It is. Okay, very cool card in multiplayer Gwent. I'm curious to see if Thronebreaker has a similar design to it or if it's entirely different. Every 3 turns on turn start, spawn a base copy of a random allied unit. What? Deathwish, destroy 3 random allied units, then play this unit from your graveyard. Huh. Okay. So Glusty Warp never goes away. However, if you destroy Glusty Warp, it will destroy other allies along with it. It'll come back out, yes, but it will destroy other stuff along with it. So, if you can, it is still beneficial to target this, it would seem. Frenzied Ghoul. Split this unit's base power randomly. Has a boost between all allies on deploy. Obviously, it's already on the board, so no deployability anymore. Deathwish, repeat the deploy. Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. So don't love destroying that. Damage all enemies by 2. Deathwish, repeat them. Oh, uh-oh. Okay. Not loving the prospects of destroying any of these on second thought. And so, although destroying Glusty does also destroy several other units, it's not without cost. Okay, but we have Ivo of Belhaven. Okay, this is who I thought it would be. Again, yes, he is a card in multiplayer Gwent, although I don't believe he exists in any other Witcher-themed media. Whether it be... I can't speak for the books, I suppose, but I don't believe he's in The Witcher 1, 2, or 3. And obviously this was before the dare I say it, the Netflix show. So, I think he is unique to Thronebreaker in a way, and multiplayer Gwent, but so I don't really know what his story is, other than just that he's a Witcher. So, immune. Every turn on turn start, damage a random bronze enemy by half of Ivo's power. If that unit was already damaged, destroyed instead. Okay, so he just demolishes stuff. Either significantly weakens it, or destroys it altogether. It is based on how much power he has, which, since he is immune, means it's very hard for them to destroy him. It also means it's hard for us to boost him up to make him stronger. But the random damage... Or, I guess no, this is random, the boosts are random, but the damage is 2 to everyone. That would still hit him. Okay. Alright. What are we just supposed to outscore our opponent here? I think. So, Tainted Ale is usually something we want to combine with Stray's Infiltrators. Actually, it's been a while since we had a one-round match with our own deck, which is, I'm now realizing, significant because Skellige guys are a lot easier to use when we have multiple rounds in which to use them, because they automatically go into our graveyard at the end of the round, and that's not necessarily the case here. So, although they have been amazing for us thus far, this is perhaps a little bit tougher to make them work. I think we dump at least one bomber. Ysbel, I'm concerned that she's going to get destroyed, given how they do have some damage that hits everyone, and Ysbel herself is pretty weak in terms of her base power. Obviously, her damage could be huge, but I'm wondering if we do not want to destroy our enemy's units all that often, in which case Cadaverin may not be all that good. This is actually very similar to Ivo's ability. Tainted Ale, similarly, for the removal purposes, may or may not be useful if we're going to activate powerful Deathwish abilities on our opponent's side, but if it's here to set up some infiltrators, then it could be good, but we don't have any infiltrators at the moment. So I'm gonna dump you. And a lot of Skellige guys, which under other circumstances I would say is a very good thing, but again, not 100% sure. Alchemist, if we had an infiltrator, great, but we don't at the moment. Somehow I knew that was gonna happen. Okay, Tainted Ale now does have a little bit more of a use case here. And Barnabas, it's not bad. Probably. He's so inconsistent. I'm gonna try it. Okay, now we have more of a synergy here. This may be something we stick with in that case. The bomber, what's up you? Okay, I like this. Let's roll with this.
They approach! Seems you were right.
Seems that he was. Oh, I also did not look at their leader ability at all, which I'm now realizing is probably something that I should have done. Because things are happening, and I'm not entirely sure why. Okay. Wait, what? They don't... Never mind, they don't have a leader. They just played one of these ghouls, and Ivo hit it, so that's good. Is this random? Random. Okay. So... That's a lot of boosts. Oh, that's true. That's only every 3 turns. Okay. So, we can't target you with Tainted Ale, though, because you're a boss and Tainted Ale has restraint. But we could go after this guy. We don't technically need to do that right away. It does take a little bit of time. But why don't we get some of the Skellige guys out here first, and that way, if they do have to tank some of the damage, then that's fine. Because we are definitely okay with that. Alright, so I think we'll leader ability here, get Patricide and get Disgraced Warrior out. Dogger doesn't really make much of a difference because we don't have anything in our graveyard at the moment. So let's use this to swap out you. Get you and you. Okay.
Is today the day?
I have no idea. We need to do specific row management of any variety against this opponent. We'll see. They put up a lot of points in that previous turn, which makes me a little bit nervous here. Because that's a lot of boosting they're doing. Which does mean, oh, Ivo, I am realizing, could make using the Infiltrator very difficult. So these guys are getting a lot of boosts, and Ivo is helping a lot to limit those boosts. That is going to make it really unpredictable trying to set up an Infiltrator, even if we do put a Tainted Ale on it. If Ivo turns around and cuts its power in half, then that is not nearly as effective as we might have hoped it would be. Okay, so I think now with Patricide, I'm wondering who we go after. Because we might actually want to... You don't have a restraint, do you? No. Could potentially target you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have restraint as well? Okay. So, I'm wondering if we destroy you deliberately to get more boosts elsewhere, and then that potentially makes an Infiltrator plus Tainted Ale more effective. Again, we're just relying on Ivo not hitting the card that we are trying to boost, which is not... It's necessarily a safe bet. So, I don't know how that one's going to play out. We could actually... Maybe we'll destroy you with this Disgraced Warrior if we really wanted to. That's... You hit for 5, you're functionally an 11, or at least you can take 11 damage, which means you're going to survive as a 6. It means you would destroy the Frenzied Ghoul in that case. Usually we do like to destroy these guys, but... That is a little tempting. A little tempting. So then we could use Patricide elsewhere on, say, you, and potentially destroy another one to further facilitate Tainted Ale. So, okay, let's delay a little bit on these guys. We need to make sure that obviously we have enough time to have Tainted Ale take effect, don't get me wrong, but let's go here to destroy you. It's gonna boost a bunch of people. Unfortunately, that is gonna make it harder to destroy the other ones, but okay. Then for, yeah, also technically we should have done Patricide first, because we are otherwise limiting Patricide's damage a little bit. So I'm actually going to wait on this Brawler, because I want to see who Ivo hits first. And that's going to
I feel
hit us.
Strong magic here, my lady. Something controls these creatures.
It's probably Gurnakora. Okay. So, and, I mean, again, if we can keep Isabel alive, she should be pretty strong at the end. Then again, if we're activating a whole bunch of Death Wish abilities, then that still is going to come at a bit of a cost. But hopefully, that Skellige guys in particular may be able to take those hits pretty effectively. So, speaking of the Skellige guys, I think I'm looking more to damage you, or, yeah, we probably should try to make a point of hitting Glusty. Should probably do that. Okay, so we still have 8 cards in hand. Wow. Alright, so we have plenty of time. Don't need to rush into that just yet. So let's, in that case, get more Skellige guys down and give ourselves more options for damaging them. So now, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we can almost destroy you, and if we use a Disgraced Brawler, we definitely can. So I think we go that route. It's technically, slightly overkill, but so be it. And for the second one, we'd like to target... let's start working on Glusty. As for whether we'll actually be able to get rid of Glusty Warp, then that's a different question, but we'll see. I think Ivo can... Oh no, it's only bronze, right? So it's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen on Glusty, otherwise that would be pretty strong. Okay, so... I think we still have time for this one as well, right? Should.
My disgrace ends here. Time I wiped it away.
And so I know the drowners are now relatively weak, but I don't really think we want to go after those, because we don't really want to damage our own cards. I mean, it would destroy this Disgraced Brawler and this Disgraced Warrior, which is actually not a terrible thing. But, we're trying to instead... Well... Trying to instead destroy those guys. They're not going to their graveyard. Okay, that's really weird. Their graveyard, yes, absolutely does have these frenzied ghouls, but they're not. It just says 0 there. They didn't have dooms. So for a second, I thought they did, because that would explain why they. Oh, never mind. That's an 8, not a 0. I don't have my contacts in. Alas, apparently I'm just blind. All right. 8 units here. Hit you. I assume, just logically, it would make sense that destroying the boss is kind of, you know, one of the keys here. So maybe we make more of a committed effort to go after. Does this have restraint? This does not have restraint. That surprises me. I did not remember that. Okay, let's hit you. So that damage is starting to add up. And then we can do you and you, I guess. And more damage. Destroyed some of the Skellige guys, which empowers the other Skellige guys. Not really sure what just happened there. Is that Ivo destroying one of their damaged cards rather than weakening one that was on full power? I think that's what that was. And that would also explain why we took additional damage. So, it should make our next leader ability more effective for getting Dogger. I think that's not a terrible thing. We are now starting to get to the point where we're going to need to use Tainted Ale quite soon. So we did try to make a point of killing some of the Frenzied Ghouls to get whatever boost they had to activate so that this was going to be optimized. I think now we're going to have to make it a reality. So right now you're the biggest one. Yeah, it's probably you. And then we'll go Infiltrator. And then we'll go Alchemist. And technically might have wanted to destroy this first. And then decided where we were going to apply that, because I think we can destroy you on this turn. If we do that, then you're going to... we are 1 point away. So you hit for 4. Which drops you down to 3, which means you hit back, and you're a 1. Which really stinks. I guess we'll wait on this. I mean, either way, Pouch Side should have enough damage, even without you on our next turn, to make it happen. But yeah, it also stinks because you're about to get that back. Okay. So now we do need to make the Infiltrators happen immediately. You sell by unit to the right, so we put you there.
We got a job to do.
And then we do this. Oh, right. Well, it did destroy our, oh. So that might not have been a great idea in hindsight. So, in hindsight, that might not have been a great idea. Out of curiosity, Isbel, yeah, does have ridiculous quantities of damage. But, yeah, I at first was like, oh, you know, darn, we probably shouldn't have destroyed our own Infiltrator. But, no, that was a lot more than just our Infiltrator. Yeah, like a whole lot more. So, I think at this point, it is basically going to come down to a question of just, can Dogger absolutely bail us out here? I certainly hope so, because otherwise we are in a lot of trouble right now. This is doing a whole lot of nothing. Wait, so every Death Wish destroys 3 random allied units, then play this unit from your graveyard. So I swear, it activated, like, 6 of those Death Wish abilities, not just 3. Which is why I'm a little confused still. Or maybe it was just so dramatic that, you know, it had a bunch of our Death Wishes to activate that, it just took longer. And gave me made it hard to discern what exactly all this stuff was coming from. Alright, well, I mean, we do still need to play this Infiltrator now, otherwise we're not going to have enough time to make it work, and we are going to have to put it next to this Frenzied Ghoul. We're going to use Alzur's Thunder on this Glusty Warp, I suppose. It'd be great if we could put the Infiltrator next to you, but you are a boss, so that does not work. We do have our leader ability here, which would mean we would need to put Patricide back into our deck. Would we get Patricide back out? Especially when there's only 2 units on the board right now, there is a case to be made that, obviously Dogger's going to be one of them, but there's a case to be made that Patricide is not the best second card. Might be Gabor. Barnabas, I mean, who knows? I think it might be Gabor. Yeah, I think so. So might as well do this for the free damage. And I think we still prefer to hit you, because we want to use you as a boosting target. So then, get rid of Patricide. I mean, technically he was pretty likely to get destroyed on their next turn. So we're close, perhaps, to getting him back. He has 23 base power. Which is technically... This is 20. Technically, he is worth more. Alright, I guess it's Dogger plus a renewed Patricide. Okay, so this is the win condition that we are relying on here. It's just getting all the scaling guys back for the most part. Because I don't really know if Isbel's damage is going to backfire on us, much like destroying Glusty Warp seemed to have done. So that might have been a big mistake. But now, as I was saying, we do need to do that. Shh. This doesn't do anything. Okay, that's you can totally boost our card. They've passed. Oh, I mean, so we could just pass right here, right now, couldn't we? I mean, is there anything specifying that we need to play further? Because if we wait longer, Glusty will spawn a base copy of a random allied unit. Oh. Now, if you spawn an extra Infiltrator, that would actually be kind of hilarious. But, yeah, otherwise, it would be Alzur's Thunder on one of you two. Yeah. This is, I think we actually pass here. So we should automatically win?
That'd be the last of him. Should be quiet.
Just gonna ignore the fact that Ivo is technically dead right now? That was a weird one. That was a really weird one. Alright, we have acquired Magical Barrier. I feel like we've seen this card many times before from Barnabas, and almost every single time it has been terrible, and we've not wanted to get it. We've been displeased that it was one of the Barnabas options that showed up. But maybe when we're actually planning for it, it could be better. We'll see.
The Lyrians emerged victorious, due in no small part to the Witcher.
Sort of. Kind of. Mostly the Skellige guys, in truth. Would that have... I mean, I don't even know how that would have played out differently had we not gotten rid of Glusty Warp, because obviously that influenced things a lot. It might have been a lot more straightforward if we hadn't done that.
Thanks for the help. Name's Ivo, Witcher, School of the Bear.
School of the Bear. Okay, so School of the Bear, for what it's worth, at least... I mean, I guess in the official, books... The schools are actually not that fleshed out, and mostly comes from, I think, Gwent of all things, that gives the most color, and The Witcher 3 gives the most color to them. And the School of the Bear is most well known for having bigger, stronger, physically stronger Witchers, even relative to other Witchers. But outside of that, also, at least in multiplayer Gwent, they're technically Skellige, but I doubt that's really canon.
Meve, Queen of Lyria and Rivia.
But we could use someone like a Witcher on our side right about now.
Well, well.
So,
Didn't expect to see anyone out here. And certainly not a queen with an army in tow.
might we be able to make friends?
We're not here by choice.
I bet not. No one plans to pass through Ysgith.
Yeah.
And you? What's brought you here? A contract, perchance?
I mean, that would seem to suggest that even you wouldn't want to be here.
That's right.
Oh.
Hunting a monster.
Is he hunting Gernakora? That feels like that would be such a huge task that even Witchers would not be so quick to accept that offer. Do you know of this beast? This contract. Who's offered you coin? Both those things I mentioned. That's the... It's been a while since we've had significant conversations like this. The white text is the side conversation, right? Whereas the more gold text is the stuff that actually progresses the main plotline, so we should ask this first, if I'm remembering correctly, which I may not be.
I know your services to be rather dear. Who could afford a witcher's bounty in these wretched swamps?
And, of course, we are just hoping that he does not say the Nilfgaardians.
Nilfgaardians.
And he said Nilfgaardians.
Blast, of course. Preparing the land for settlement. Cull the monsters, drain the swamp, then bring in slaves. Doubtless from the north.
Maybe. I got paid in advance. I didn't see the need to ask any questions.
It's a good deal, I suppose. Besides the whole part where, this is not a place where you want to be, and depending on what exactly they're asking Ivo here to kill, it might have been a death sentence, because if it's Gernakora, then I'm guessing that is not exactly the most straightforward contract to complete.
But did you have to take the coin? Don't you see what they're doing?
Forgive me, your majesty, but seems to me you're confusing Witchers with Knights Errant.
Yeah, and is this the first Witcher we've encountered? In all of Thronebreaker thus far? Have we seen one yet? I'm not sure if we have.
We don't fight oppression, right wrongs, or avenge orphans. We slay monsters for coin. And it don't matter whose head's on the front or whose coffers it's from.
In which case, this potentially is the first introduction as to what exactly a Witcher is and what they do, in Thronebreaker at least, obviously. I imagine for most of you, you've probably played or at least are generally familiar with The Witcher 3 or read the books, and so you know from those. Okay, so that's, yes, it's the Nilfgaardians who employed him, but what exactly is the deal with this beast? Is it Gernakora? Because I imagine it is.
This beast you're out to slay, what is it?
I imagine it is, unless, again, that's such a huge task that even a Witcher would not voluntarily just walk right into that. Because there are things like dragons in particular that Witchers are known for not fighting. For that very reason, they know it's too dangerous.
Hang on. You mean to tell me you've led your force into Ysgith and don't even know what lives here?
I mean, seems like in that case it is going to be Gernakora.
I believe I was clear, we're not here by choice.
Yeah, but now that you are here, it'll take a minor miracle to get you out.
Yeah, he's probably not wrong.
Ysgith swamps, realm of a truly dangerous being. Elves call it Gwent, the Bloody Mistress. Over generations, locals twisted the name until it became Gernakora.
Yep.
Indeed. I've heard it.
Heard of it. Not heard it directly, just to clarify.
So you've also probably seen her beloved fruit, leeches and ticks.
Yeah.
You'd all be wise to stay away from them.
Yeah, no, don't need to tell me twice. Okay, so what exactly is Gernakora, though?
This Gernakora, what is she exactly?
Depends who you ask. Elves saw a fallen goddess in her.
What?
Never managed to cut her down while they lived here, but they did stem her growth, kept her from growing stronger.
That sounds terrifying. If they had not done that, who knows what would have happened.
As for the local humans, spirit of a cursed princess, that's their take. Deep belief, actually.
Yeah, we've run into a few of her thralls thus far.
Care to elaborate?
Stories that she was riding north to marry a Temerian duke. Whole retinue and caravan got lost, wagons got stuck, everybody drowned in the bog. Quicksand got him, that sort of thing.
And this is all a fib? A lie? Is what you're implying?
Gurnikora grabbed a root before the quagmire swallowed her whole. Hollered for hours. But there wasn't a soul around to hear her. Leeches, hundreds covered her. Settled in for a royal feast. Sucked
gross.
her dry. Drained her to pretty much the last drop.
Very gross. But she didn't die.
Fear and revulsion so completely overcame her spirit, she couldn't pass into the afterlife. So she came back, revived by Ysgith's magic.
Okay, is that actually true then? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of myth in this, in general, but I mean, that is kind of the Witcher's jobs, is to figure out what actually is true about the monsters so that they can better understand how to defeat them, and in some cases, dispel curses. Because, yeah, is this actually some kind of demigod? Or is this someone who was originally an actual human, who has been cursed into some vile thing, abomination?
Ugh. A chilling tale.
Sounds like that is what we take to be true.
Yeah, except made up, probably.
Oh, or
Don't
not.
believe the elven legends either. Gurnikor is a monster, plain and simple.
Okay,
Extremely dangerous, sure, but just a monster.
okay. Alright. You know, interpret that as you will.
The leeches and ticks, you called them her fruit.
That is a weird way of phrasing it, yes. It is also the name of her leader ability in multiplayer Gwent, so this is not the first time I've heard of it, but yes.
It's kind of complicated.
Oh. Do I want to know? Because I don't think I do.
We've time enough.
Do we, though, Meve?
Gurnikor is a little like a vampire. They're kindred creatures. Except, instead of feasting on the blood of others, she feeds them her own.
What? She feeds other people her own blood? What the heck?
I'm not certain I understand.
No, I don't.
They're parasites, right? She puts them on her body, feeds them her own blood, then hangs them on shrubs and trees.
What
Ugh,
the heck?
To what end?
To other monsters, they're delicacies. Sweet, juicy, full of Gurnikora's blood. Irresistible. Any beast that tastes that loses its mind, turns into Gurnikora's slave.
Oh. I mean, disgusting. On so many levels. But also devious.
So, if your paths cross and push comes to shove, she's not gonna be alone. Find yourself fighting the whole damn swamp.
Yeah. Good point. Okay, so... yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, though. Is that everything has been building up to suggest that Gurnikora is no pushover. So, I'm surprised to see that Ivo here would be so bold as to take on a contract for her, and given how he's clearly wounded here, seems as though perhaps it hasn't gone that well thus far, and would likely be a similar story for us if we were to try to take her on as well.
How are we to fight her? How might she be killed?
Sorry, sharing secrets. Just not something we do.
I mean, we would basically be, you know, stealing his job. Or maybe we're doing the work for him. I mean, he's already been paid, right? He's already been paid. He just needs Gurnikora to be dead so he can walk away. It doesn't technically matter if he was the one to do it or not, right?
Not even with those who saved your life just moments past.
Now he's gonna be like, no, I saved your life. Oh?
We gotta wait till she starts feeding the parasites. She's weakest then. Stand a chance to hurt her.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that was also one of the things that seemed particularly odd about it, is, you know, usually parasites leech to get energy, right? And so the whole reverse parasite relationship where she's giving her own blood to others, there's only so much of that you could do before you bleed yourself dry in this totally theoretical, crazy, wonky situation. But, yeah, so, like, with all these red, I assume these are basically the leeches or, you know, other parasite-like things that we've seen all over the place. So, unless she somehow is, creating blood cells at, you know, 10,000 times the rate that a human would, I don't know how she would ever manage to encompass this entire forest with all those things. So, yeah, I would imagine she'd have to be pretty weak when she's doing that.
Right. So we attack only once she puts the leeches to her skin.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you kill her, if you kill her, any beasts under her spell will weaken considerably.
Okay. That's definitely a good hint. So, yes, target Gernacora. She is the top priority, of course, but wait to do so until some specific thing she does where she puts the leeches up to her. Then attack her aggressively, and then everything else should get considerably weaker once she's destroyed. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something like the Keltullus encounter, where Keltullus had a timer after every turn, or cooldown, or whatever it technically was, where every turn, Keltullus's ability would change to something different. And so maybe that's the way in which Gernacora is going to momentarily have this opportunity for us to attack her where she's weakest.
And then, you gotta burn her corpse. I mean it, understand? Burn it.
Okay, I wonder if that's just flavor text, you know, lore, or if that's actually going to be a decision that we have to make once we do face her and hopefully defeat her. You know, I can imagine it being like well, she's pretty gross, we don't really want to do the whole burning thing, so can we please not do that? Some people are going to put up a little bit of a protest about it, but yeah, if Ivo says it absolutely must happen, then I think it absolutely must happen, because he would know best in this situation. Okay.
And you? Will you not hunt her any longer?
I mean, we got room in our camp. We could certainly use someone of your fighting ability. Yes, he could use some patching up, but we have Ysbel. Ysbel could certainly help him, I would hope.
No, I will. Just need to prepare. Realize that today. Gotta brew some potions, blade oils. Come back in a few days.
I don't even have that much time. Nilfgaard's hordes pursue us. I must march on.
Okay, but want to tag along with us?
In that case, wish you luck.
No!
Lots of it.
We could use a Witcher.
I suppose there's no argument that would persuade you to ride with us.
Come on, you know you want to.
Your Grace, mutations strip us of emotion, not reason.
Darn it. We tried.
The Witcher vanished midst the trees. And Meve simply hoped her soldiers had not overheard any part of their conversation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I certainly hope that on a later occasion we may be able to actually recruit Ivo. Even if that moment is not now. Let's take a moment to... Well, I mean, sure, do that, but also just loot up real quick. And by that I mean actually loot up real quick. That was a more significant amount of stuff than we would usually get. Okay, we learn of precisely one encounter. No, okay, multiple encounters. And that's probably... That might be the very end of Ongren here. In which case, we may be getting quite close, although there's technically a lot of ground to cover. It looks like it's quite skinny. And so perhaps there's not much additional stuff along the way, as it's quite one-dimensional. But, oh... Hold on. What is this? Milady, the homes are filled with bodies. Dozens. We see no sign of decay, and yet they're covered with a thick layer of dust, as if they've been this way for centuries. We should leave this place with haste. Oh no. Have our soldiers search the dwellings. Perhaps we'll find something of worth. You know we have to do it because it has a card fragment. Gives us a tiny bit of gold, a little bit of wood, low morale, not so surprisingly, and a card fragment. There are still 1 or 2 shrines that we've not yet used. So I think we have to do this, and if necessary, we'll lean on those shrines to help right our morale. And hey, this finishes a card. So definitely, I think we've been working on that one for a very long time. Wyvern Scale Shield. Card is now complete. We can find it in the command tent. I think we have a couple of cards at the very least now. Just want to see if there's anything else for us to loot in addition to that before we take a quick peek. Anything from those guys? No, not really. Oh, this. The one that the game really did not want us to pick up. Alright, I mean, we're doing okay from a resources standpoint now. But let's see what we have gained here. Okay, so it is... Let's see. It's you. Technically, we've seen this multiple times as part of this, as I was saying. Boost 2 allies by 2. Just 4 points total, which is pretty insignificant. Give them immune. Now that makes it much safer to have those cards on the board. I'm thinking of stuff like Isabel. Generally, we've been playing her near the very end of the match because she's so weak. So we want to minimize the amount of time she's there and vulnerable before we use her order ability. Then again, you know, for the most part, we probably just continue to do that and not really need the magical barrier. So not really sure we're going to get much use out of this, but might be some niche situations where it still would pay off for us. Then the Wyvern Scale Shield was the other one that we just picked up, which is here. Give a unit 8 armor. That feels extremely underwhelming. But why give a unit 8 armor when we can give a unit a 10-point boost instead? It's more value, and it's a higher number, and it's actual points, whereas this is not. So that just seems kind of silly. Like, even if you were thinking of, well, I want to have the Disgraced Warrior hit our opponent's back more effectively when it damages them on the latter half of its order ability. And armor would help with that. Yeah, but boost would be better. Or at least the higher number would be better. So, yeah, it just seems quite bad. But as I said, I think we've been working on this one for an extremely long time. So it may be that, I don't know, if you miss a fragment, do you just never complete that card? I think we had this discussion once a while ago. I thought that that was the conclusion we came to. It's not as if, you know, maybe we missed a fragment a very long time ago that would have finished the Wyvern Scale Shield back in Lyria, when it would have been much more relevant, and only now, multiple sections later, do we finally get that last fragment that makes up for the one that we missed before, and so it's just gonna fill the last spot of the Scale Shield, but at this point the card is pretty terrible. Or maybe, no matter what, you know, you're gonna get it at this point in time, and it is just a terrible card. Who knows? Maybe it turns out it's amazing for some reason that I do not yet know, and I'm completely underselling it. Maybe I am, but right now, I'm not seeing it. Alright, but I think this is a good place for us to wrap up here. We have, as I was just saying, I mean, I'm sure there will be more encounters beyond the ones that are currently showing up on our map. Usually there are some things that will pop up on more short notice, or as complete surprises, like this little gap here, I imagine. Maybe something, but I think it is pretty clear that we are getting very close, and our encounter with Gurnakora is drawing ever closer. Will we be able to get Ivo to join our team at some point? Maybe after defeating Gurnakora? I don't know. But as I said, this is definitely a good place just to wrap up here. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll catch you next time.